In this quick overview of our material layer system, we are going to be creating this material for the ground with several layers and different types of blending shapes. So for start, let's first create a copy of our base, and let's call this ground for this one, and let's apply to our mesh. In the ground material, we go into the layer parameters, and on the background, there's nothing here yet, so let's use our overshader. If you want to know how to use each one of these parameters, we have a quick overview of the overshader itself. So to start, let's bring in our texture, and we will be using an albedo, a normal, and a packet texture for the ground. So we'll be using this cobblestone albedo, a normal map, and the packet texture. Let's make it a little smaller, like this should be enough. And let's also give it some small displacement. So let's get down there and just a little bit, so we can get a little bit more irregularities on the floor. Now that we have our background set, let's break a little bit of the uniformity in the color. So let's add a material layer, and we'll be using our same Yoga shader. We could create a child of this one, but let's redo this so we can understand the whole process. So for this one, I'll be putting my albedo here, my normal again, and my packet texture. In this case, we need to match our timing, so it's the same as the one underneath, and we are going to change a little bit of the albedo. Let's keep the displacements as it is, and let's break down the brightness of the albedo and give it a little bit less color. Now we have a darker material. For this blending, we're just gonna use a simple noise. Let's adjust the noise, opening the parameters tab, and let's increase this noise, let's say 29. There's a nice shadow here, and let's play a little bit with the minimum and the max and minimum value, something like this, and maybe make it a little bit stronger. So as you can see, we have now a few darker spots in our material, and we can also go back into the layer and maybe bring the saturation and the brightness a little bit down. Cool. We have this done. Let's call this one dirt stone. Dirt stone. This is set. Now let's create another dirt material on top of this one. For this, I'll be using our preset dirt. As you can see, it already has some displacement on it, and we only need to set the blending. For this, let's use a mask lerp, because I want to control this using a mask texture. Let's open the mask texture and bring in our texture that we'll be using. If we take a look at the texture itself, it has some information on red, green, and blue channel. For this one, we will be using the depth information on the blue channel, which is the displacement. So mask channel by default is full. Let's just keep as it is and play a little bit with that masking. As you can see, it comes a little bit out and in. We'll keep it very simple and maybe bring this one down a little bit. Now, for the next one, it's actually a simple one. Let's create a water area. So we create a new material. Yes. Usually, let's pick up our Uber shader again. And let's make it very reflective. So I'll bring my roughness down to 0 and my albedo down to black. Now we have a very reflective surface where we can start to place the textures that will be used. Let's use the normal map of the cobblestones in this one, and we can also set the normal strength down so it can keep the information, but not so much. We still want that fairly flat reflection. And to create the spots, let's use this stains texture that just place it on the packet texture map. And for this one, we'll be using the red channel, where you won't have any information outside the spots and you have several levels. So for our displacement, we need to set our displacement for the red channel. And then just go to the displacement and start tweaking with it. As you can see, it will respect the channel. In this case, we just want the puddle area, give it a value lower, where we can have a little bit of deformation. And let's also set this tiling so we can control a little bit better where our puddle is gonna go. So let's make it a little bit bigger and maybe move it a little bit to the side. Something like this. Yeah, that's okay. You can see a fairly amount of puddles around. And now we just need to mask this. Let's collapse our layer asset. And for this one, I'm going to use our world direction. From the world direction blending material, you can select from which direction from the world your material is going to be applied. By default, it's on top. You can also select side, frontal, or flip the direction if it is needed. So now we have also on the side. Let's remove this. It keeps as default, and then you can see the water won't be on this face, only on top of our. Now we need to bring back our mask to align the mask to our previous dents that we set on the layer. Let's also use our tiling and set the same values as before. And now we have perfectly aligned. But as you can see, it's not uniform, and this is because our noise. So to have our noise being uniform, just set the noise max to 0. And now you have the water layer. And you can start to play with the masks, make it deeper, even deeper, making like real dents into the floor. Or you can leave it just very shallow like this and have a very complex shader made by different types of materials. A dirt layer, let me do this, and also a water layer on top of everything. And you can freely turn them on and off and see the results of each one of the layers individually. So we can have only the water and the ground. You can have only the dirt. You can have any combination of materials that you want, making this very complex shader in just a few minutes. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.